Wait lang guys.
Get your guns on the hood.
I need to
These
end.
switches or brains out of here. He said the whore.
Like, look at
Position to make threats. Take his gun.
Hello guys, good evening. Punta ba ako sa cellphone? Sorry. Kauwi ko namin. Punta ba ako? Wala, grab. Nanonood yung aking hobby. LS lang ako saglit guys.
We'll ask you one last time. There is okay. Listen. Demons took your girl. When you get to hell, ask me where. Kill the hood. I told you not to call it.
Mas naano akong gamitin yung ano. Ang dami kong urashes.
You know, that wasn't very natural. On your horse. Go. Get.
Wala tayong viewers. LS lang saglit guys para makadagdag tayo ng
Here's to the very
oras.
first influencer in your life. Mom. This is how mom shines with 30% off everything at Zales, the diamond store.
Hi, everybody. And you're in Valley Ranch. You're welcome. Scoot over. Squeeze. Pull up a chair.
Sakit ng ulo ko.
Because life's just better. Believe there's always room for one more. Rinse. A taste of love.
Hello po sa aking viewers.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music alive,
Pagkot.
let's face the music and dance.
2-hour grocery delivery.
Lilipat ako sa computer mamaya. Kung ano. Kung ba yun?
But is that what this is about? Or is it really about just
Sinipag
getting his own
ako.
party in line to do this through
May gabi na rin dito
reconciliation?
patulog na
And if
naman.
those are the politics, what is the
Bahay,
next step?
trabaho,
Yeah, I'm sure
tulog,
you know
ganun
Senator
lang.
from West Virginia.
Gising
There are
maaga.
probably more players in this game. Let's talk about it next.
Ganun lang ang buhay natin guys.
Right. We didn't care whether you were black or white. We looked for ways to expand opportunities and give people options to make their own decisions. That's what America's about. And sure, we've had some challenges, but we keep rising to the occasion. We confront the person in the mirror, which allows us to move over. But
Nampak
the
mo.
left John, the left
Mag-8:30 na naman
refuses to
guys.
do that.
Alas
The
9
left
tulog
wants to
na
find
naman.
a fall
Yes,
guy.
Lord.
They want
Mga
a scapegoat,
ka-shower.
as opposed to helping build a better America. What they want to do is spend $6 trillion, wherever you're going to get it from, they don't care. To do what? To make sure that they have a permanent underclass. People they think they can control. But what I'm seeing, and I spoke with President Trump today, what we're seeing happen is this response from good intentioned people who happen to be black, who happen to be Hispanic, who happen to be white, who happen to be
Ay,
Asian,
Diyos ko.
rising up and saying, you won't tell me what to think. I'm going to decide that for myself. So there's a coming backlash to this liberal oppression that is becoming front and center, and they're not even hiding their hands anymore, Sean. That's why it's so important that we stand in the gap for
Yan
this
lang
nation.
guys.
Because
Short
the
video
greatest
lang to.
comeback
Ay, short live stream lang po.
You gave specific examples of racism. Nobody's doubted there are ignorant, racist people. There are evil people in this world, and nobody that I know wants
Talk
anything to
ako,
do with
guys.
those ignorant people. That's whatever subset group of people. I think the majority of Americans are good, honest, decent people. The beauty of our framers and founders, I would argue, you can agree or disagree, is that they created a system where you can right wrongs, correct injustices, become a more perfect union. We have a history of doing all of that and a lot of bloodshed in the process and a lot of heroism and courage along the way by people of all races. And then I'm like, but Joe Biden, how does he get away with praising the guy that filibustered the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65, partnered to stop the integration of public schools, saying he doesn't want schools to be racial jungles. And
Ano
not
kaya
one person
magandang
on NBC News or in the
suggest kayo
media
guys?
mob or in the Democratic Party seems to care about that
Content
history. Because maybe I'm wrong,
o
Senator
vlog.
Scott, but if a Republican, Donald
Kasi
Trump,
halos
or any
lahat
other
ng vlogger
Republican,
pare-pareho na lang ang binablog.
I'm pretty sure they would criticize
Ano kaya
them.
maganda?
What do I know? I'm just
Content.
It would be unrelenting. There's no doubt about that, Sean. We would have a cascading effect. We would never see the light of day because we would be, the drumming would never stop. The truth of the matter is, the hypocrisy needs
I'm
to
sorry,
stop.
I'm very
I
young.
am a black man. I am proud to be black. I happen to be a conservative because I came to the conclusion a long time ago, conservative policies and principles is the way that we set people free to be whoever they want to be. You actually are free to disagree with me. That's the beauty of America. And with the Democrats,
Yung aso ko
is that
naglalaro
you are
mag-isa.
not free to be yourself. You cannot disagree with the Democrats. You can't disagree with progressives and liberals and still be seen as the mainstream of this country.
Two last questions. Why does Joe Biden get a pass on his background, his history? And what did Donald Trump say to you today?
Number one, I'll start with good news and go to bad news. Good news is President Trump called me to just tell me that he thought I did a spectacular job. And you know President Trump, he's effusive in his praise at times, and he said it was fantastic, it was spectacular. He really enjoyed listening to it. I'm glad that he listened to it, period.
Ay,
He
Diyos
wants to make sure that we keep
Message.
working to get more
Kasi ang
things
bilis
done for the
maglobat ang
country.
cellphone pag laging
Believe it or not,
ay
one
sa
of the things that
alive
we talked
pala.
about for a very short period of time was how to make progress for the most vulnerable. He is still focusing on getting things done from a policy standpoint by encouraging us to continue down the path that leads to American progress. On the other side, I've asked the same question.
Ang
The
bilis ng oras.
1994 Biden prison bill was a prison bill. It incarcerated disproportionately African Americans. Can you imagine any Republican talking about putting people back in chains or saying that
Ay,
you
Diyos
vote
ko,
for me, you're not
antok
black?
na po ako.
I don't know what it is about this paternalism that comes from the left,
Pagka-vlog.
but it is front and center and it is shameful. I'm actually saddened for them because they are going to continue, unless we stand in that gap, to teach people that this nation and who we are is antithetical to the actual reality that I have lived. My grandfather,
My husband is watching over there.
James, Ben Carson, and the list just goes on. Once again, thank you, Sean, for your work, and thank you and Lindsay for helping me raise resources at VoteTimScott.com.
your race is important. You're up in 2022. But you know, one thing I
Yes,
do
sir.
know, and I talked to a lot of my friends in South Carolina, they were never more proud of you than
Maganda ba yung
last night.
cutics ko?
And thank you, sir, for being with us. And I am sorry you had to go
Hindi
through
ko
that
alam
last
kung
24
ano ko
hours. Thanks for being with us.
Parang
Thanks, John. Great show.
Thank you. Joining us now is Reaction Leo 2.0 Terrell, nationally syndicated, several radio talk shows, Larry Elder. Larry, we start with you. Reaction.
maganda ba?
Man, you know, this is why, Sean, I executive produced that movie called Uncle Tom, which, by the way, is available on
Bagong
YouTube
lagay.
and other outlets. We interview people like
Ay,
Ty,
Diyos
West
ko.
of Florida, who got the same treatment that Tim Scott is
Sorry.
getting right now. J.C. Watt got the same treatment
To
10 years
sleepy.
ago. The Democrats need, of course, this issue because if they can get 13% of the black people believing that America is systemically racist, they believe they'll be able to get there and get that 95% vote. The bizarre thing about this is America has never been less racist by almost any measure.
Gusto kong kulayan yung buhok ko ng blondie, kaso ayaw ng asawa ko. Para naman sana may iba.
Percentage of white people who oppose interracial marriage all time low. In fact, depending upon how the question is phrased, John, black people oppose interracial marriage more than white people do right now. You look at things like willing to live next door to somebody. Look at things like willing to vote for a black president. When Gallup first asked it in 1958, only 38% of Americans said they would. Now only 3% of Americans said they would not. So by any measure, racism is less significant than it's ever been, but by any measure, it's more significant for the Democrats and for the media. Democrats for votes,
Dami
media
ko
for
crushes.
ratings. It is absolutely insulting, and it's making America worse. When cops are afraid to do their jobs, they pull back. Crime
Saglit
goes
lang,
up.
guys.
Bad guys know it, and the people that get hurt are the very people that the people on the left, people like Joe Biden, who've been lying for 30 years about his own civil rights record, these are the people they care about. And these are the ones who are harmed by this lie about America.
Leo 2.0.
Very simple. Look, racism is they make money on it. They get power from that. You get Dan Trump, Al Sharpton, they play the race card, they're gonna make money on it, and that's why they continue to do it. The Derek Chauvin case, not one word uttered about race in that case. It's a murder case, and yet they characterize it as a race case. Let me tell you what the Democrats are afraid of. They're afraid of guys like Tim Scott, because Tim Scott represents what Donald Trump did in the 2020 election. More black males are voting Republican. You don't have blacks in the Democratic Party. You have no Democratic Party. And let me say something very clear to those Democrats who were born and raised in the 50s and 60s and 70s. You're a dinosaur because it was like Ice Cube at 56 saying,
I bring this one from work.
So I got
So,
news for you. There is a trend
binili
taking
ko
place. And the trend is
sa work.
blacks are thinking independently of having that D. You want to know why, John? That D. They were born and raised thinking that
Katapos ko mag-LS.
blacks and Republicans were evil. That is
Shower ako.
saying
Na
that
ako.
the
Tapos
eliminated
patutulog
is the
na.
number one reason why I'm on this show.
8:30 na, guys.
Saying that I left the Democratic Party because Joe Biden saying you ain't black, you don't vote for me, it's racist.
I don't see Larry's hat. Just saying.
Okay, I'll get to that.
All right, thank you both. When we come back, Dan Bongino, Geraldo Rivera with more reaction. Policing in America. We have new videotape.
It's not nice to type.
Police-involved shooting and a big announcement coming up at the end of our
Daddy.
Oh.
Look at me. It's not nice to type.
Good bad.
Huh?
Ain't good bad.
It's like medicine.
Turn this air conditioner off. Well, we'll let it run just a second. Still got warmer in here.
And with their insurance, it was no cost to them. That service you can trust, you need it most.
We know many of you are in pain, but are still skeptical about ordering our 3-week workshop for just $19.95. So let me ask you, and let's say relief factor doesn't work. You know, use $20. But what if the relief factor doesn't work for you? 3 weeks from now, you could be pain free.
I want to prank my husband, but he doesn't like. Maybe he may cry. I know he's gonna be sad, cry if I make prank for him. prank ko sana guys, yung sabi ko, yun ko sana na gusto ko na mag-divorce kami. Ano kaya yung ano niya? Reaction niya. Tapos super galing pa siya ng work. He's not taking shower. And then I asked to divorce for him. Ano kaya mangyayari niya guys? Iiyak siya. Maybe siya, oh my God, what I do? Sabi niya siguro, di ba? Pag nag-prank ako sa kanya. Look at this too, guys. In my front.
The FDA cleared personal EKG device.
You did not see this morning, Daddy, when you get your phone
It's proven to detect atrial fibrillation.
in the charger?
Causes of stroke. And it's
I put in the charger. Is that
in the world. It can also detect
you did not see? You did not see beside your phone?
Wow.
She bombed it.
It's never been more important to check your
A lot of throw up there.
Mobile is now available for
Yes, I
$89.
cleaned it this morning. Yeah,
Mobile.com or Amazon.
beside your phone. Well, 3 spot.
Use the same network as the larger providers. For much
I don't know if Yuri or he.
month for unlimited talk, text,
It's probably Yuri.
That's one don't feed.
the average family saves over $70
It's probably Yuri. She throw up there.
You'll get the
One
same
don't feed.
number of bars because it's on the same network as the larger providers. Dial
This
pound
morning,
15, say Pure
you
TV,
throw up there.
save 50% off your first month. Pure TV.
Beside Daddy phone.
Smarter, wired.
Better you did not throw up Daddy phone.
These companies are impinging on our unalienable rights.
Senator Joshua Lee explains why he's sounding the alarm. Sunday on WLN.
Napakita ko guys itong dalawa kong aso.
Conversations.
Parang gutom na gutom.
Hard. It's breezy.
Gutom na.
Sometimes you listen.
May kinakain kasi ako eh.
Agree.
Pag nakaharap yung daddy nila, hindi ko sila sinusubuan. Andito kasi yung daddy nila eh. Ayaw niya, magagalit sa akin pag pinakain ko ng pagkain ng tao. Ayan. What, Yuri? Huh? What, diba? Oo, behave daw sila. What, bebe? Ito aso kong pitbull. Yan.
Tonight, as usual, police are under attack in this country.
Alam niyo, inaano ko ng video.
First 4 months of this year,
Yung ko yung babae.
11 police officers have lost their lives in the line of duty, according to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, an 11% increase from 98 during the same period last year, which was one of the deadliest for officers in decades, with a total of 360 police officers dying in the line of duty last year. And unfortunately, the climate continues to get worse. For example, an officer in Delaware died Wednesday after being brutally beaten after
Ito lang
responding to a
pagkain
call
ko
about a
din na.
fight. In North Carolina,
Manok.
2 deputies were killed in an ambush
Pag
that
chicken.
turned into a 13-hour standoff between officers and a shooter. Don't forget, earlier this week, we showed you an officer being attacked in broad daylight in the streets of New York City. This all happening more and more. Out in Chicago, video is being released of another officer-involved shooting of a 22-year-old named Anthony Alvarez, who police say led officers on a chase while he had a gun. Here's the video. As often, sadly, is the case, viewer discretion is advised.
Ang trabaho ko pala sa cellphone. Hindi pa ako.
And look at your screen, you can now see from this angle, Alvarez running with the gun. Remember, these cops have to make split-second decisions in real time. Now, Senator Scott, even last last night, Democrats, they don't want solutions.
Pangatlo ko na tong Lex.
So they can continue to divide
Tama na to.
Americans, rush
Kasi
to
puro
judgment.
na lang ako
No
karne.
trust between law enforcement and the communities they protect and serve, because, well, rather than offering real answers and really talking about crime and trying to stop all shootings and all killings, Democrats say they just want the police to be reimagined, their new favorite term. Take a look.
I am very clear that we have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety.
Subuan ko yung mga aso ko. Ayun.
In the budget that I released last
Kasi
week,
wala yung daddy
many
nila dun
steps
sa
to
kwarto.
reimagine public safety.
We
Nice.
have deep, hard, soul-searching work ahead to reimagine and rebuild the very compact between law enforcement and community.
Here with reaction, Fox News contributor Dan Bongino, along with Fox News correspondent at large Geraldo Rivera. You know, I will say these body cams, now you see these videos one after another. In most cases, Geraldo, the gun is in the video. You see the split second that a cop has to make a decision, how hard that job is.
I think it is the proliferation, Sean, of body cam and surveillance video that is making this issue seem so urgent. In fact, the statistics have been relatively flat for several decades. I would like to go back to Senator Scott. In June of last year, he proposed what he called the Justice Act. It addressed police training, police tactics, and hiring. Training
Busog na ako,
in terms
guys.
of no-knock warrants, chokeholds, when to use your weapon, when to fire. That was all in Tim Scott. It is all in Tim Scott's Justice Act that the Democrats have refused to consider. So I believe there is a step in the right direction that is right on the desk of the officials in Washington, if only they could get past the fact that Tim Scott was a Republican. Let's start. Does it answer all the questions about policing? Does it resolve all the controversies about policing? Of course not, but it is a step in the right direction, and Senator Scott was right on it right after the George Floyd murder in Minneapolis, and I think it is lamentable that the Democrats refuse to even consider it.
You know, putting aside George Floyd, a separate case, and we had a trial and a conviction, Dan Bongino. What do we see? There's commonality in a lot of these videos now.
Busog
being
talaga.
released. You see either people running for the police,
No.
you see people resisting
No.
arrest, and you see people with firearms, and often being pointed at cops. This is what they're facing every day.
Yeah, and listen, I was with you, Sean. I really
Parang
believe
gusto
the
ko pa.
proliferation of body cameras, which I just let me say in advance. I
Meron
think
pa
it's a
dun.
good thing.
Ano,
Accountability for law enforcement, I was
breast
on.
na
It's a
buo.
good thing
Ayaw
for
ng
law
breast.
enforcement and a good thing in a constitutional
Ang
republic.
ganda.
Okay, period, full stop. Having said that, I have to tell you, I have been disappointed.
Para
I,
akong
like
buntis.
you, believe that when the public
Yun ang
saw
san.
through the eyes of a police officer,
Umiinom
or at
kasi
least
ako,
through the
guys.
perspective of a police officer, sometimes obviously the camera
Hindi
is
pwedeng
on the chest
ipakita
area,
yung bote
that
kasi
you would see, people
lahat
come
ng
around and
video
say,
ko pinapanood ng
this is a really
aking
dangerous
biyanan.
job. It's not even
Hindi
seconds
pwedeng
decision,
ipakita.
Sean. It's split milliseconds decision. And people would say, my gosh,
Umiinom kasi
this
ako.
is really difficult. I would not want to walk a mile in a police officer's shoes. Sadly, that's not what's happening now. As we saw with the incident in Chicago, and the tragedy with the 13-year-old young man who may have dropped the gun milliseconds before the police officer even noticed it. And now you have, Sean, the proliferation of still shots around Twitter and social media from the body cams, where you get geniuses who know nothing about policing saying, oh my gosh, look, his hands were clearly empty. Yeah, for 0.08 of a second, he had the gun before. Again, I think cameras are a good thing, but I don't think they're as good as they could be. I think the public needs to be more realistic about what they're watching.
Well, but can you explain why, every big city, every weekend, X number of people shot,
Yun eh!
number of people shot and killed, and we never hear about those names? Why only the
Pwedeng ka,
cases
tignan,
that can be politicized? Why don't we hear the names of everyone being shot?
medyo nahihila ako, guys.
Well, you answer your own question, Sean. It is precisely because they lend themselves to be politicized, and the video evidence, so-called, is how they grease the skids, is how they bring it to the public's attention in the most egregious way possible. But we've got to just deal with the reality that we have. Here's a cop. What do cops want? Cops want to do the best job they possibly can. Cops want to go home body and soul intact. Cops want to have their pension at the end of their 20 years or however long they're in the job. That's what cops want. The stories that you're hearing about cops
No
leaving
more.
departments and this and that, what they're doing is they're going from big city departments to suburban departments. where
Half
they get
hour
paid
lang
more
tayo
money, and where they don't have the
mag-e-edit.
They're leaving
arena,
because
where they don't have everything so
they're leaving because they're not getting support anymore. That's why they're leaving. I'll give the last word to Dan. We'll just short on time there.
Yeah, that's,
Saglit lang, guys.
partially right. Yes, some are leaving for smaller departments, but a lot of people who have experience, Sean, 20, 22, 23-year police officers who ordinarily stay around a few years and teach the young guys the rules of the road and how to work. They're leaving at 20 and out. They're like, I don't need this crap. I got to deal with Bill de Blasio in New York. This loser, I'm not dealing with him. And they're all leaving. So it's not just people leaving for other departments. It's early retirements too. All that experience, brain drain, down the tubes.
All right, thank you both. We're on with Dan Bongino. When we come back, I'll update you on the Rudy home pre-dawn raid. Biden claims ignorance, plus you won't believe zero experience Hunter, what he's up to now. We'll check in with Dana Black for another divine on a special announcement. And Cuomo in more hot water. We have an update straight ahead.
I knew why. Quick. Fast way to bring it up to speed. Scott Sturfield of Rapid Grass.
He grows 2 times faster than seed alone from full green grass.
Everything else just seems slow. It's the lawn season. Let's get to New York.
Tucker Carlson Originals. It's the show America is talking about. Tucker is telling stories other media outlets just won't touch, exclusively on Fox Nation. Now, a brand new episode. Big Energy runs amok in Maine.
They're lying, they're thieving, they're stealing what we have here in Maine.
Sana all maraming pera. Sa birthday ko, abangan nyo guys. Ano din ako. Pero bunutan yun. Gagawa ako ng ano. Ay, hindi ko muna ngayon sasabihin. Surprise ko muna sa birthday ko.
Cut right through and destroy it. We don't stop this. Whole state of Maine. A good place.
Tucker Carlson Originals. New episode available now. Only on Fox Nation.
Uhaw na uhaw yung mga aso ko.
Lucy is a 5-year-old English bulldog. Lucy came in with severe skin infections, and her feet were so swollen they were about 3 times their normal size. Since we are a non-profit, we do work solely off of donations.
Nantok na ako, guys.
And basically, Lucy's healing process has sped up exponentially. They really provided a lot of the topical medications that we needed to get her to where she's at today.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of My Pillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped me.
What are you doing, Yuri? My phone!
Over the last 12 years, you've
Quit!
helped My Pillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I would sleep almost immediately. I stayed
Yuri!
up at night, and I wake up more well rested in the morning.
That's why I invented My Pillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps
That is
you
paper!
in life.
My God! It's not food that.
Retailers have canceled My Pillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular
Medyo nahihilo ako.
$44.98, or My Pillow dog beds for as low as $19.
May cutex yung aking left. Yung right wala. Bukas ko lalagyan. Trinay ko lang yung ano yung cutex na to. Kung maganda. Yung left muna nilagyan ko.
Left-wing ideas such as anti-Americanism, critical race theory, and sex
Kasi
education
papasok ko
have
sa
lost
trabaho,
their
hindi
impetus.
pwedeng may
We need to
cutics,
counter
guys.
these toxic messages.
Itatago ko na lang yung kamay, yung ano, kamay ko. Parang gaganyan ka na lang. Pag nakaharap yung mga boss. Kaya hindi ko pa nilagyan yung isa kong kamay. Tago ko na lang yung isa.
After almost 10 years of creating content for college students, PragerU is now producing educational videos for kindergarten through 12th grade students. We're also bringing together parents and educators who are concerned about America's education and are willing to do something about it. We love America. We want our children to love America too.
You can be part of this critical mission by making a tax-deductible donation to PragerU today.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. News Audio.
Ang likot-likot naman na tong aso na to. What you eating? No! No! No!
Yesterday as part of a federal investigation because of a purported FARA violation.
What
Here's
the
what he told our own Tucker Carlson last
What the
hour.
heck?
Take a look.
Don't you want these? And they said, what are they? I said, those are Hunter Biden's hard drives. And they said, no, 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 no. I said, are you sure you don't want them? Hunter Biden's hard drives fall within the scope of the subpoena. The subpoena requires, the reality is that hard drive contains somewhere between a dozen or more violations of FARA that is spelled out.
Ang lilikot ng mga aso na to.
Without telling me, my iCloud, they took documents that are privileged, and then they unilaterally decided what they could read and not read. So the prosecutors, the Justice Department,
Pinapatuyuan ko pa kasi medyo ano pa. Bukas lagyan ko yung right. Tatago ko na lang bukas tong ano ganyan. Pagkausap ko yung mga boss ko. Pag nasa trabaho ako. Parang ano na lang, parang hindi halata. Isa lang yung nilagyan ko.
And as if things can't get any more bizarre, Hunter Biden will apparently be visiting Tulane University to talk about being a victim of fake news. Okay, you can't make it up. Here with reaction. New York Post columnist, author of the
Ang bilis ng oras, guys.
Miranda Devine, along with nationally syndicated radio talk show Stay Left. Hey, I don't believe in equal justice or application of our laws exist anymore. And the biggest evidence.
What are you doing, crazy girl? No?
Being paid millions from Burisma. His father leverages $1 billion taxpayer dollars. He's on tape bragging about it. You don't fire the prosecutor investigating my zero experience son, you're not getting the $1 billion. Then the Bank of China, then the First Lady of Moscow, then Kazakhstan, and we'll get to the laptop of Miranda.
Namumula yung
Just
mukha.
too cynical in my old age.
Minom kasi ako, guys.
No, I don't think you're wrong at
Para
all.
maganda
I
yung
think it
tulog.
makes sense of us all, Sean. This whole thing is so
Nakatatlong bote.
bizarre. So the people who are involved, just put in layman's terms, with the legal fight with Rudy Giuliani, get privileged information that relates to him and other individuals that his client, his lawyer, confidentiality agreement covers. And they're able to see all of this stuff. This is just insane. Meanwhile, if they're suddenly concerned about FARA violations, I'm wondering, Sean, when Fusion GPS and all of those individuals, that instances of the world, are going to come up into that conversation because
Magpapaalam na rin ako, guys.
which is just rhetorical because I'm not.
Magsha-shower pa kasi ako. Matutulog na.
So when does that come up?
Good night, guys. Please subscribe me and like and comment na rin po. Please support my channel. Please support my channel. Pag na-monetize na guys, saka ako magseseryoso mag-vlog. Kasi hindi pa naman ako na-monetize kaya ano pa. Tsaga-tsaga muna. Yun lamang po. So, thank you so much. God bless everyone. And please subscribe my channel. Thank you so much. God bless everyone. Good night. See you in my next live stream. Bye. Good night. Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. May nag-like pa. Sino kaya yung nag-like? Bye, everyone. Thank you po sa like. Please subscribe my channel. Please support. Please support po. Good night po. Good night po. Bye, common sense. Bye, Allison. See you tomorrow, my dear. Yeah. See you, my dear, tomorrow.
Your paper was censored, canceled by big tech, and Joe's candidate.
That's my coworker. She is a good girl. Bye, Allison. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow, my dear. See you. Bye. Good night. Good night, my dear.
He really articulated in a way that explains the full